Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big East Rewind. I'm Chuck Everson, your 7-foot host from Villanova, and my partner, as always, the great Sonny Sparrow from Syracuse University. How are you, Sonny?
I am super excited, Chuck. Our guest today, as we discussed previously, has been on we'll call it our hit list.
A
He's
radar.
one of our
Yeah.
top three guys that we wanted to get, and he graciously accepted. He even sent a quick note, "Hey, I can't wait to see you guys." I was pretty excited about play. I don't want to play against him, but I definitely
Yeah.
want to talk to him. How about that?
Well, listen, Sonny, we got another big guy today. I know,
I
I know
know,
that
I
but
know.
that rubs you. I know, you being a point guard and all. I know, but I got to look out for my big guys.
Hmm.
And he still has to move, Sonny, because he's been elusive, man. For 5 years, it took us to get this guy, and I had to. I don't know how many people I had to call to find him, but finally realized that one of my teammates from the '85 team, Harold Presley, is good buddies with Corny, and
Yeah.
he hooked this up. So, without any further ado, one of the guys that we've been asked to track down and have on the show, we're so happy that he's here with us, the UConn Huskies, Sonny, from 78 to 82. He is the all-time made foul shots with almost 500, 496. He is the fifth leading scorer in UConn history, still today at 1,810 points. Third round draft pick by the Dallas Mavericks, number 50 overall. He played in Italy and Spain, was a European Cup champion, all the way from Middleton, Connecticut, Sonny, the great Corny Thompson. Good to have you here with us,
Right.
Corny.
Hey
Yay.
guys. Hey, nice seeing you. That's been a long time. I don't do a lot of these at all. But you know what? I'm surprised Harold never told you where I was living, where I was doing. He was just here last summer.
Oh, was
So
he
yeah.
in Dallas? Well, he was friend. I think he was down visit. Doesn't Ruth Buzzy, or she did? She passed away. Ruth Buzzy lives down that way, and he was
Yeah.
tight with her. Somehow, that's like the oddest of odd couples I've ever heard. Is Harold Presley and Ruth Buzzy.
Yeah, but also his son lived here,
Yep.
so he
Okay.
had reasons to come down here, and he has family down here, so he's here. Whenever he does, he stays here.
Yeah, that's great. That's great that you guys are close from playing together in Spain and overseas. So sometimes when we do our due diligence here, okay? So
Mhm.
Corny, you're not walking into a Mickey Mouse show. This is what are we, Sonny?
Professional
We're
journalists.
professional journalists, Corny, just so you know. So I have some fun facts, two of them actually,
Mhm.
about Corny Thompson, okay? Tell us about your love of cooking, because I hear you're outstanding.
I like the barbecue. Well, I do cook Thanksgiving.
Do you?
That is mine. I deep fry a turkey. I smoke a turkey.
Wow.
I cook ribs. I do not. I can cook. Harold has been invited over many times before when we were
That's how
here
I
in
found out.
Switzerland.
That's
Yeah.
And that was no
You know,
secret.
I had to get some American food. I had to cook ribs, and I found a way. And Harold would be always there, ready to test out anything I was
well,
cooking.
he gave you the highest of compliments, and I'll tell you what he said. He said he might be better than my mom, the late
Oh.
great Margaret Means, who used to have us over all the time. She would make Corny. She would come to games, and she
Mm.
would give Prez different containers of chicken. One was marked with my name on it. Okay. And I never, hardly ever got to me because Prez would devour it. They saved it. But
Yeah.
we've been to the house with Russell and his mom, and both have passed on. Rest in peace to the two of them. And she was wonderful, a wonderful lady, and she really was a good cook. So being compared to her, I know you have to be good, and I don't even have to taste it. I already know.
I gotta
Well,
ask you. Go ahead.
yeah.
Go
Your
ahead.
ribs, right? Dry rub, St. Louis. What's your secret?
I, I'm in Texas now, so I do a dry rub. I do have a wet rub that I really, really like because that's what I would cook in Europe. So right now, I may get into the whole hog now that I'm retired.
Wow.
Who knows? I got time to do everything right now.
You make your own sauce, like you the vinegar, you make the whole
Yes.
mix?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
He's the real
expert.
deal, Sonny. I was
That's
told.
an expert. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what time is dinner on
I was
Thursday
gonna
night,
say,
Tony?
invites coming.
I make for Thursday, I'll have the turkeys, I will have the stuffing, I will have the gravy. Um, and then after that, I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, I don't blame
But
you.
I do all the meats. And even during the summer when we have parties here, picnics, I do all the meats. That's my specialty.
You got a house full coming over for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we will
There you
have a
go.
few people
Well,
here.
there you go. They're all going to eat well. I know that. Now,
Oh,
the other fun fact, and I'm going to take away the fact that you played on the freshman team. Let's put that to the side. And you never lost a game in high school when you made the varsity. You won
yes, I
three
did.
state championships. You lost.
Oh, if you take out the freshman
Take
year,
out the freshman year because that's
no,
it's
I
all
never
freshman.
lost. I never
Once
lost.
you made the varsity squad, never lost the game.
I was on the
I don't
varsity
think
my
we
first year. I was on the varsity the first year. Yeah.
Okay, because I was told I thought it was ninth grade there was a freshman team.
There was a freshman team, but I played on it very quickly. I was
They
promoted to
moved
the
you up right away.
varsity, and
So your
then
last 3 years, then
we
you didn't lose.
lost. We lost my freshman year 3 to 4 games, and we lost to Mark Noon for the champion. He beat us in the semifinals, and they went out to win the whole thing. So,
Wow.
or
we
maybe it
we
was the quarterfinals, but they
But
went
we've
on to
t
win the whole thing.
we've
10th,
talked to
11th,
some.
12th, you didn't lose.
Tell them
Nope.
we
Nope.
have talked to some accomplished high school
We even played
All-American young.
John. We even played John
Oh, I know.
at University of Hartford, and it was the biggest game. And it was a snowstorm that day, and it still was packed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He told like actually I spoke to John in doing my
Mhm.
due diligence, and he said to me, you were one of the toughest guys he's ever had to play against in any level, you know. And he played against you in high school, obviously Villanova, UConn,
Mhm.
and in Spain, right?
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said he really, he said that you used your body so well that it made it tough because you like to bump and grind down there in the post a little bit. And
What
he
yeah.
said you were a great player and even a greater person. So that's straight out of John Panone's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. So wow. Wow. But yeah, high school was I would have to say my coach, Thomas Labella, and I will give him all the credit. We were a team that he challenged us. We went all the way to New York and played Scooter McRae and
Oh,
his
Scooter
guy.
and Rodney, yeah.
Yeah, we played them in high school because he wanted to challenge us. So we weren't afraid to play anyone. We didn't run away from anyone. And
Wow.
we were M class. So
They had
we
quite a
have to
program.
play. Yeah.
Mount Vernon, it's always had
Mount
great.
Vernon, Scooter and
Yes.
Karate. What a program.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Williams brothers went there, and there's a lot of guys that came out of there,
But
Yeah.
but
Justin Ray Williams.
but Chuck,
Hmm.
we've interviewed a lot of guys, right?
Yeah.
Nobody has had that statement about 3 straight years not losing a
Three
game,
state titles.
3 straight championships in the
Yeah.
state. I mean, nobody.
No, that's pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So
For a team that had 2-5-5 guards and two
really,
6-1 forwards.
wow. That's
But you
crazy.
had to bring the ball up against us. We were all over the floor.
Wow.
All over the floor.
So you're in Middletown, okay, and now you're starting to get your feet under you as a young high school player.
Hmm.
Who's recruiting you at this point?
Everyone.
Everyone. Yeah, that's what.
Well, it was really weird because I had a real crazy selection. It was Duke, North Carolina, Princeton, UConn, and it was Virginia.
Pete
Three
Carrill
ACC
at
schools.
Princeton. Pete
Yeah,
Carrill is in there.
top 10, anything that was top 10 in business, it was on my list.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, because at that time, back in those days, you never were sure what your career would be like.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure my life after basketball was good. So I knew I was going to graduate and I knew I was going to get a good degree.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing. That gets overlooked a lot of times, a lot of guys, and then you wind up doing well in business, which we're going to talk about a little later, but
Hmm.
it gets overlooked. But what strikes me about that selection is you had three ACC teams in there, and only one team that eventually became the Big East. It wasn't the Big East right away when you came in, right?
Yeah, and they were all East Coast because I didn't want to go far from my family. You
Right.
know, my mother and father being part of my life and being able to see me was very important.
Now, you
Yeah.
were a little bit of a late bloomer to the game, right, Corny?
When did I start playing basketball? Probably just before the year before I entered high school.
Right?
Before that, I didn't play too much basketball, but after that, I hit every basketball camp. I went to even the five-star basketball camp, and I picked up a lot from the five-star basketball camp. And that was probably where I really flourished. And I played against some really good players that made me think, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
From
Right.
there,
And you
yeah.
developed a full skill set. You weren't just your typical post player like I'm going to say Chuck was. You
No,
you could
no,
handle the
because
ball. I'm just going to say it, Chuck. Let's talk about the gorilla in the room here, man.
All right. Well, I now I'm the gorilla too. That's unbelievable.
well, I would have to lay that credit to Thomas Labella, my high school coach, because he always told me you're not going to be what you are in high school. So he would put me on the wing. I played wing in the high
Right.
school because he said you had to learn those skill sets.
It's very
So he
forward
pushed
thinking.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very forward thinking. He made sure I knew every aspect of the game, could shoot, pass, play the wing. He was probably number one contributor to me being where I am
Well, you were a tough guy on our scouting sheets, right? Because of that,
now.
right? So was it like who's going to defend Corny?
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Well, this might be a better matchup inside, but this is a bad matchup outside for us, you know? So it was way ahead of its time,
yeah.
yourself.
And I wasn't afraid to pass the ball either.
I was
I,
just going to
I,
say,
I was up there in assists because I had no problems giving up the ball. I just wanted to win. I
yeah,
mean, that was number one thing for me was I want to win.
that
And it
was an
didn't matter what
underrated part of your game, Corny, don't you think? Your passing skills, because everybody that we've talked to said that he did this, he did this, but you should have seen him pass the ball, especially in Europe. It was a bit, it was big,
Oh, yeah, everything went through me in Europe.
right?
Everything. I mean, I start to play, end the play. But that's just because, in Europe, I was probably different from most Americans because I really integrated myself with the team. And that's the reason why I keep getting invited back to my last team, the Spanish team that we won the championship, because we were like a family. I mean, really, I spoke the language. I was a translator for the guys, and
Well, I got to
yeah,
ask you about that because
yeah.
John Panone, became fluent in Spanish and did all his interviews in Spanish. Okay.
Hmm.
My my sources tell me, you know who he is. I don't have to tell you,
Hmm.
Corny. Okay.
Hmm.
So he said to me that you became very fluent in Italian,
Yes.
but with your Spanish, it was kind of like
Both.
Spentalian. It was kind of like a mix of both. Like they didn't know whether you were kind of speaking Italian or Spanish. Is that true?
That is true because the guy who taught me Spanish was my trainer, and he was Italian, and it was fine when we were just talking calm. But when I get mad, oh my God, it came out in so many different directions and so many different languages and English, Spanish, Italian, but they got the drift.
Yeah, right. That's right. So let's bring it back to you. Now you decide on UConn and you're going to
Mhm.
play for Coach Dom Perno. Did
Yeah,
Yes.
did
how
he
big an
have a lot
impact
to
was
do with
he?
you going there or
Yeah.
not really?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. How big an
He
impact?
he did. There was him. There was a couple other coaches that I really knew. Um, he did tell me that they had already planned that they were going into the Big East.
Right.
That was one of the selling points was that they were going to go into the Big East and that UConn would be in a better conference and have more exposure. And that was one of the things. And then also too, when they were recruiting me, they was recruiting a few other players,
Big guy, Alex
not
Simmons.
Norm. Yeah, not Alex
Chuck
Ennis.
was 2 years later.
That was 2 years later. Jesus, he passed away. My
Oh, did
memory's
he?
going on me.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, but McKay.
Okay.
McKay. So there was a nucleus coming, and then we had a couple other people who decided to go there because I was going there. So we had a good team. We just, if it was this day and age, we would always be in the Final Four because I mean in the NCAA because we was always in the top 3 or 4 of the conference.
Yeah.
But
Right.
back there, and either if you were number one or you didn't get in, regular season or tournament.
So you were there at UConn right at the very beginning of the Big East.
Oh yeah,
So
first year
can
we
you
played in the ECAC.
right East, yeah, right, or the what was the other conference called, Sonny? The something
Empire
eight.
8,
The
Empire.
Empire Eight. Yeah, both they took teams from there and from the ECAC. But so now you get there and do you see a big change in the games and in the competition and the rivalries right away, or did it take a couple of years before you felt that?
Oh no, right away.
Yeah,
Right away. We were all teams that had ambition. We had really good players, and there was no cakewalks at
no,
all, no matter who you played.
yeah,
So that was fun. To me, that was fun.
yeah,
So you know, if I had a chance to do it over again, I would still do it the way I did it.
yeah,
Um, there's some things I would change, but ultimately, I think it was the best thing for me, you know?
I got
And
I got to ask you about Perno, his personality, right? Because you have Carnesecca, right? And then
mhm,
you're gonna get PJ, and there's a lot of Italian coaches that are in the league.
mhm.
But was Perno's personality? Was he that fiery type of Italian, like a Massimino? Like was he that way, or was he a more of a reserved, calm guy? I don't recall him
He
being
was a
loud.
reserved, calm guy. Remember, we
Guy.
had Jim O'Brien too with us.
right, right,
Yeah,
He
yeah.
yeah,
recruited me a lot, and he was the one who probably out of anybody before he left the last 2 years ago, I think to Ohio, who really pushed me more than anybody. Okay.
He
He
was a
said,
great
"You are the
coach.
leader. You are the guy. You have to be better than anyone." So he was the guy who really pushed me. Don was just a great person, but he understood basketball, and they worked well together, him and Jim, and might have hurt a little bit the last 2 years not having him a
yeah.
little bit.
Gotcha.
Though your last 2 years, they grabbed a bunch of guys to build around you a little bit. They had
Mhm.
Vern come in, Jiscum and Chuck and Alexanis and a few
Carl
other
Hobbs.
guys
Carl
that
Hobbs
came
was
in.
in Vern's class, right?
Carl Hobbs was in that class too, I
I had to
believe.
cover those little suckers, let me tell you.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
no easy chore.
It- but
And
but I
you,
tell you, the
go
one
ahead.
that probably no one remembers, who probably would have changed our whole projection of where we ended, was Norm Bailey.
Oh,
He
really?
went he was academically ineligible, but
Wow.
man, could he play. I mean, he was the shooting guard, but no one remembers him. With him, we were rated in the top 11 at one point, and then
Yeah.
he became ineligible, and we seemed to lose a dimension that we could never recover.
Wow. So
You
when
know?
you were playing with Chuck, when the two of you were on the team to get Alex Ennis, okay,
Hmm.
you guys were like the Bruise Brothers before Rick Mahorn and Jeff
Yeah.
Rulin were
They
coach,
were
right?
ruling in Mahorn. I was just gonna
You would
say.
pound the hell out. And listen, thank God I got that you left and I came in. I didn't have to swap, sweat with you in the paint, but I heard the stories, believe me.
Yeah, well, Chuck is a big boy,
Yeah,
big boy. But he shoots. One thing we complimented each other. If I was inside, he'd be outside because he could shoot, and I could shoot. So it really didn't matter, and we made sure we gave each other enough room. Okay, so and him coming from Kentucky, he, you know, he came from a program that we thought he would really, really help us.
Yeah, and he did. I mean,
Mhm.
you guys were good back then. I mean, it started that really, if you think about it, Corny, that really was the foundation for what UConn finally became, years later, is all the guys that put their sweat into the program and
Mhm.
started out. You guys were kind of the building blocks of what became the UConn that we see today, don't you think?
In the sense of, yeah, because before that, none of the players would stay in the state.
Yeah.
None,
There was a
none,
lot of great
none of
players
the,
that came out of there out of
there was a
Connecticut.
ton. There was Wes Matthews and all the other guys before me. None of them stayed in the state. They would go out of state thinking that that's where you had to go. And UConn at that time wasn't rated as one of the top
No.
tier teams or places to go. But after that, it became a destination point. And then even when Calhoun went there, it became even more of a destination point. So, and now the legacy of basketball at UConn is pretty strong. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about a team that has to be ranked up there with one of the best in the nation all time because
Has to
of
be.
all the things, all the players, and all the championships.
I think you got to call him a blue blood at this point.
Kind of blinded not to because think about where they are right now.
I think you have
Going
to.
back to back, and they're coming supposed to be strong again this year.
Yeah.
So the program at that point started to get legs, and now it's running.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And then, when you left, then they had a few bumps in the roads,
Mhm.
for
With
a
Kelly.
couple of years with
Yep.
Earl and that crew, and then
Hmm.
came right back once Calhoun stepped in.
Yep.
They had a down year his first year, and then all of a sudden you had all kinds of guys coming in.
Resurgence, reawakening,
Yeah,
whatever
it
you want
was
to call it. Yeah.
unbelievable, and now Danny has picked that moniker up and he's running with the ball now. So do you stay involved with the program? Do you come back? Do you go to things? Because I know they're pretty good about bringing their alumni back. Chris Smith has been on with us and he's a friend of the show, and I talk to Chris now a lot, and he's kind of one of those guys that's an ambassador for the program. Do you
Hmm.
go back at all?
Not as much. Not as much as they have invited me, but not as much. Just because I'm in Texas
Yeah, right.
and life is just not. My life has just completely changed since I left basketball. So,
Yeah.
but it's been good. I mean, like I said, I now um, I love when I do go back that they remember me the way they do.
Yeah.
You
They're
know.
they're pretty good. I mean, Danny's pretty good, and I know Calhoun was too, with
Yes,
bringing
he
back the
was.
guys, and everybody kind of knows who you are, and it's a sign of respect that they're bringing all these guys back. There's a lot of schools like that do that, and
Yeah.
UConn does a really good job with that stuff. Just from what I've seen and heard from Chris and some of the other guys that have played, and you don't have to be the all-time leading scorer or in the top
No.
10, as long as you come back, all the folks love you guys. It's just like, everybody's an ambassador for the program.
One thing Connecticut has is UConn basketball.
Oh,
They,
there's no doubt about that. 6 championships on the men's side, and I don't even know how many on the women's side.
oh,
It's
Jesus,
crazy.
they are basketball is number one sport in Connecticut.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
got to ask, because since you mentioned it, Corey, what are you doing since the ball stopped bouncing?
Well, after the ball started bouncing, I did a few things, but I think the main thing was I started working for a friend of mine, Alan Lazowski, Laz Parking. And I was working in the state, and then one day he gave me the opportunity to come to Texas and start the division here for him. And came here in 2006, just me and one opportunity. And I left last year with um, went from Texas, Oklahoma to Louisiana, and quite a few locations behind me. So, and uh, and I think we have over 1,000 employees in this region. So, not bad, not
No,
bad.
it's
And
pretty
it's
good. It
all
was a pretty good
centered
record.
on Yeah, it's all centered on business, and I've
You
learned a lot.
started working in Connecticut with them, and then
Yeah,
wound up in Dallas, and kind of helped build the entire organization, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great.
Like, yeah.
So I guess it paid off that you went to a good business school and got your degree.
You know, keep telling everybody this story. If Princeton had only given me a degree, I mean a scholarship, when they couldn't offer scholarships,
Right.
Right.
I might have been a Princeton guy.
Wow. How about that?
So all you kiddies listening, go to school, stay in
Stay
school,
in school. That's right. That's
do
right.
something with that
Well, I
degree.
don't know, man. With NIA money and NIL money, oh my God, these
That's
guys are
Yeah,
crazy,
getting
that's
rich
a
right?
different
before they
animal
get in
now.
out of school.
Listen, I'm gonna ask you a question I asked Chris Smith. How much money would you have made, Corny, if there was NIL back when you played?
I don't.
I would say you'd have to get paid pretty good. Come on.
No, now leading scorer all 4 years, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would have made my share. Okay, I wouldn't.
You're so humble.
I would have made my
I
share.
would have
You would
made
have
my
did you would
share.
have did just
I would have
fine. Listen, we didn't
cleaned the
even have I
cupboards,
didn't
man.
even have McDonald's money when we were playing back then. It was
Oh,
like,
they didn't give us
you know,
anything. Come on now. We had
Yeah,
our
just
our
say
little
just
per diem, and that was it.
that's
just
it,
say
right?
it, man. You would have cleaned their clocks, give it all. You would have cleaned the cupboards, man. You'd have left some crumbs. That's it.
100%, man.
Uh,
100%. So
uh,
give us some of your best memories of some of the big games and some of the tougher guys that you played in the Big East back then.
Whew. Um, well, John Thompson's teams, we have always had
Yeah.
a rivalry. We played tough. We beat them down there. They beat us up in our home place with Patrick and his guys. And then St. John's, we've always had run-ins, Chris Mullins and that group. And then Syracuse. I mean, we were there in Syracuse when they opened the dome.
Yep.
Remember that? And we had the record of 20 something, 25,000 people for the first game, and we beat them. So that was a rude awakening.
Yeah, I don't remember that one,
Um,
so sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
Sonny's memory gets a little fuzzy
Yeah,
on
it
losses
get
at
fuzzy. It's
Syracuse.
that little fuzzy, that wave.
and I just met a guy who he was going to Syracuse at that time, and he said, "Yeah, you came in and beat us." And I was like, "Yeah, it was me.
All right, so what happened? All right.
Yeah, it happened." And
And
then,
back then the tournament was all over the place. It wasn't at the
well,
Garden. Like your last year, I think it might have been at the Garden, right?
last year was at the Garden. All the times before that, it was in Hartford.
Hartford was the year
Hartford.
before.
Yeah,
That was the
Hartford was
last
the year
year.
before. Yeah.
Syracuse was the year before that, and then
Hmm.
Providence was the first year.
Yeah. So it moved around.
Yep,
And then it became permanently fixtured in New York. And now
that's
just because
perfect.
of the exposure of the press and everything, it was the perfect place for it.
It is the perfect place, 100%.
And
Yeah.
still is. Yeah, I
It
mean
is.
it's
Yeah.
always an exciting
It-
week,
yeah.
down there when they go to the tournament back then.
I just think the Big East lost a little. I don't know why they disbanded for a while and all those teams left, but
Tell me about it.
they're back on track now. So
Well,
that's a good
UConn
part.
coming back in was a big help, Corn. That really changed the landscape a little bit.
It did. And when you have teams like that and they play well and everything, you get more recruiting exposure. Kids want to go play there, and because at that time we recruited more people, UConn during my time, from New York and from the Boston area, and that we've never seen come to UConn before,
Huh? To
and
be
that
the
just
best, you got to
continued.
beat the best, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
You
I,
know,
I really enjoyed that, and but there was rivalries. Providence was even a rivalry. And now,
Oh yeah.
we go down there, and like I said, nothing was easy. There was no cakewalks in the Big East.
No.
Okay, but Syracuse was the team that everybody had to beat with Bowie and Orr and all those guys. They were
yep.
just so established. They were the team, but we had no fear. We know in any given night we can beat anyone.
Yeah.
That's why
And
Coach Boeheim wasn't in love with the Carrier Dome because he lost what he felt was a major home court advantage playing in Manley Fieldhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
'Cause
Sonny,
you-
all of us lost. Listen, Villanova had the Cat House, Seton Hall had Walsh Gym. They were all bandboxes that everybody played, and it wasn't just Syracuse.
Yeah,
Not now,
but
nobody
Syracuse
went to
had
the size difference
yeah,
that you guys went
right,
to.
but Syracuse had a run in Manley Fieldhouse. They won 60 straight games, you know?
yeah. Yours was like our field house at
Yeah.
UConn. It was really intimate and really tough. I mean,
Yeah,
it rocked when there was games, and then you go to the Civic Center, and it's just a whole completely different feeling.
different feel.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but the Carrier Dome, Corny, was cavernous. I mean, you
Oh,
know,
you had no none at all. Your fans were too far away. It comes down to talent. You don't get that emotional kick that you do when fans are closer.
Thank you. That's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
there you go, Sonny.
Thank you. I knew I liked you right off the bat, Corny.
Right
That's it.
off the bat.
That's it. I'm coming to Texas. You can make your dry rub. I'll bring a little St. Louis
All
rib and
right,
rub.
man, you will enjoy that, and we have the best steaks here, man. There's nothing comparing to meats in Texas. Okay?
Ooh,
No
Chicago
doubt.
might get upset at you, but all right. Okay.
Oh no,
I
no,
I
no.
gotta
Trust
agree
me.
with Corny. I'm on this one.
Oh, nah, nah. I've been all over, and I've had my share of foods because I love to eat. No, meat wise, Texas is the place.
There you go. So you get drafted in the third round by the
Hmm.
Dallas Mavericks,
Yes,
right? How long were you with Dallas? It was a year and change?
I was Dallas a year and change, but I was with them the first year, and then I went to the Summer Pro League, and I was playing well, and then Wes Matthews ran into my knee and dislocated my kneecap,
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's a
and I
terrible
didn't
injury.
think I would ever play again.
That's a
I
terrible injury.
mean, I remember, um, God, I forgot his name. He was the coach of the Hawks at that time. He came in and said they do a lot of things with knee replacements, and I was like, holy shit! Excuse my
Yeah.
language.
No, it's okay. You're good.
And I just remember going home and just basically almost giving up. And then luckily, a coach called me, and my agent called me and said, this coach from Europe saw you and he wants you to try out. It was the next year. He wants you to see you in up in New Jersey. They were having an open tryout. And I limped up there and I played, and I played pretty good for one leg. And he said, we're going to recruit you. We're going to make you feel better. You can get your knee healthy. We're never going to get fully healthy the way it was before.
Right.
And I said, why not? Give it a try. And I played 12 years in Europe after that.
So before we get to Europe, was Dick Motta your favorite coach to play for?
Oh boy, should
That's
I say
that's
this? Should
rhetorical.
I say this? No. And there's not 30 times I say that too much. I usually love everyone. But and you know what? I didn't have any hatred for Dick. I really didn't. I just got caught in a little bit of a warfare between him and some players on the team. So I was their friend, and the only person he could pick on was me. So
Right,
I
right.
got picked on.
Yeah,
And back then they could do it because it wasn't a player dominated league. It was a coaches dominated league. And they would quickly tell you, I'll get you out of the league.
right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was a tough guy. I heard some of the stories, and that was a rhetorical question. I wasn't looking for you to
Well,
you
the
know,
crazy thing about it, I didn't know how bad it was until the coach from Europe, who I was really close with and who I had really good years with, he basically said, Dick Motta said you were a bad guy.
Oh wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
wow, okay. And he said, you're not there nowhere near that. And I was like, yeah, well, it is what it is. Move on.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So you start out in Italy first, right? In Europe.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
tell us about that experience living where were you in Rome?
Actually, I was in Varese, which is right outside of Milan, Italy, right up
Okay.
on the mountains heading towards, you know, Switzerland. And I loved it. It was probably the best place for me. I had a really great trainer who was one of my best friends who just passed. And I got rehabilitated. I showed that I could perform, and I became one of the top players in Europe, in Italy. And then after 6 years, I just, back then it was the old caste system. They had your rights, and there was nothing else you could do about it. If you wanted to make money, you had to leave the country or you'd go back home.
Wow.
And I finally had to leave to make some money, and so I went to Spain.
So back then, you were allowed two Americans and one dual, right? Which means you have
Mm,
dual
Two
citizenship. Was that the rule?
two Americans. You could
Two.
have dual citizenship, but you couldn't play them all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And and then, but it gradually changed over time. When I first got there was only two Americans. Didn't matter. There was no dual citizenship. You had to be fully a foreigner.
Okay. How,
Okay.
who were some of the guys that you played with in Italy that we might have heard of?
Oh, Larry Mishaw,
Oh, well, there you go.
Charles Pittman,
You and wait a minute,
Wes
wait a minute.
Matthews.
You got to hold on a second. You and Larry Mishaw played on the same team.
Yes, we did.
I tell you
Yes,
what, that's
we did.
another guy that was a beast. I mean, he might have had his best game ever against us my freshman year when we played them to go to the Final Four, and they five slam a jam at us and John, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but he had the game of his life, that guy at that point.
yeah.
Strong as hell and could
Oh,
jump, could play. I mean, just physical,
yeah. And
typical
then
80s
Wes
guy.
Matthews, and then there's some other foreigners from Brazil and everything else. But yeah, I had a few really good players there while I was there. So,
Now the way it works, right? You get a lot of
hmm
expenses covered, right? So your salary you can live a little bit frugally
well,
and bank
you
some or
you
no?
you 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 get your free housing. You get uh I had a restaurant. I had an allowance at a restaurant, and so really, I just sent my money home, except for just incidentals. That was it, you know.
Well, you had
Pretty
the
good.
ability to bank a lot, right? Be just the tax structure and other things, right?
Well, yeah. Well, remember back then, I mean, it was still the old. You didn't get paid much. I mean, you're talking 50, 60, 70, 80,000. It started moving up my last couple of years in Europe, where players were making two to 300,000. There were some guys who were making 1 million, but you had to come from the NBA directly to be that kind of player.
Wow. So now you wind up in Spain, okay?
Hmm.
And you had some good years there, and
Oh yeah,
we spoke briefly. Harold Presley played with you there for a number of years.
yeah.
And tell us about the game when you won the European Cup. You made the shots, you made the foul shots, and you guys finally got the cup.
Well, the team I was on was always number two, always number two, always number two. And the guy they couldn't get through was a guy named Audie Norris. Okay, and Audie was a beast. He's like Larry, physically a beast. Okay.
Yep.
And they brought me in thinking that I could be the enforcer and get them past that one little hurdle with Harold. Okay. And we did it. We came in and we knocked it out of the park 2 years in a row. And then the next objective was being the first Spanish team to win the European Championship. And Harold and I, we were one shot away from it our second year in Italy. I mean, in Spain. I mean, got the guy's name. He had a half court shot to beat us to win the championship. Okay. Then this is after Harold got hurt and left. I finally won it. And we went through, oh, I forgot the guy's name. He was from the Dallas Mavericks, Roy Tarpley.
Oh, Roy Tarpley.
Oh,
Yeah.
Roy Tarpley,
Yeah,
yeah.
Roy Tarpley. And we went through his team in Greece and we beat them in the finals. We've been to the
Wow.
finals a couple times and never could get over the hump. But that game, we were major underdogs and we played our hearts out. We had nothing to lose and we played and shot came around. they knew me. My guys knew me. They said if there was going to be a lot shot, I was going to take it. So
Yeah.
came my hands, and I was at the 3-point line, and there we go. It flew. So, and I wasn't having a great game, but man, what
Listen, at the end of the day, it's a great game.
a
You
great
get
game.
to
Yeah.
hoist the cup, and I know that how what a big deal that is there.
Oh yeah, especially since we were the first team in Spain to win it.
Yeah.
And
How
you
great
think
is
all the
that?
great teams that Spain had, and we were the first one in Spain to ever win that championship. So
Yep.
mm.
Now, do you follow the current UConn team at all? Do you watch them play at all?
I watch them play when they come on television, and I watch the women's and everything else. So yeah, and
What do you think of today's game? When we played, and I count myself and Sonny, at the same time frame as you, even though you were a little bit before us, okay?
mhm.
But the physicality of when we played versus today's game is just a little different, don't you think? Being a guy that used to bang around with people like you
It's
did.
a lot different.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
no, you can't touch anyone. You can't. They, and players don't want to be touched. And they really, there's no one who's grind them down in the paint. Okay,
Right.
and it's the game has just changed. It's more of a free flowing game, and I understand it. And for people, it's more exciting and everything else. There's more points, but it's not the game that I grew up with you, how you guys grew up. I mean, come on, if we didn't come out of a game with scratches on us, it was
Oh yeah.
unheard of. Yeah.
Bruises or scratches or both,
Yeah. All the time, especially I say Europe was definitely that way. So the game has changed. It's more free flowing. It's more, I say people talk about the GOAT, Michael or LeBron. Imagine Michael playing with the rules there are today and you
Oh
couldn't
my
touch that
goodness.
man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
forget
agree.
it.
Okay. Come on. I'm not trying to compare ages, but that man was before his age. I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't matter. You could tackle him, and he'd still come back and score 30 something on you.
Yeah. So playing in Europe, because I got to do that a little bit myself, and
Mhm.
I was on a Big East team that went over to Yugoslavia. We got to play Drazen Petrovic and
Mhm.
Vlade and those guys.
Yep.
Talk about the nuances of they perfected the flop like nobody else's business. Come on, Corny. I mean,
Oh, I
you
know. I
oh,
was one of the
I mean, to the
bruisers.
point where you'd look at a guy and he'd fall down. I mean, that was totally a European thing, and now it's
Okay.
infiltrated the NBA, right?
You know, Dino Minigan. You've heard of his name, right?
Sure.
So my first experience to that is Dino Minigan. I am playing in a game and I'm in Italy, and they are the top team. They are the team to beat. They win it every year in and out. No one ever beats them. And they had Bob McAdoo and everything else. And here I am, I'm standing at on the post. I am not even really trying to get into it with Dino. And he grabs me by the waist and falls down, and the referee calls a charge against me. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh my God. I was hot. I was mad. I was livid. Okay. So I gave him 30 points, but still we lost.
Right.
I was so mad. So,
Yeah,
mm,
I've gotten caught on that a bunch of times. The first time I remember, I forget who it was against, but
mhm.
I looked at a guy, barely touched him, and he fell down like he got shot with a gun. And
Yeah.
the ref's looking at me. I go, and I want to argue with the ref, but now it's a double whammy. You get
Oh,
teed up.
yeah.
It was,
But,
and I couldn't figure out because listen, if you hit me back then, you had to
mhm.
really hit me to knock me down. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big guy, but
Yeah.
you know, this guy, it was like you touched him with a feather and you thought he died. He was on the court
Oh,
grabbing
yeah.
everything. Oh my
But
goodness.
but there was two sides to that. Okay. So the year we won the championship, we won the European championship. We had to go through Sabonis.
Oh, they were good, man.
They were good. And with Joel
They were no
Alves,
joke.
they were no joke. But we beat them in home in Madrid.
Wow.
And
With Drazen.
so Dragic wasn't there yet.
Okay.
But guess who guarded Sabonis?
And you had to guard him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, and I beat him to death. He he would look at the referee. So it really depends on your size. Every time he got a forearm shiver, and he would just be like, "What the?" Like, just look at him and say, "Play."
Wow.
So I mentally just frustrated him. I physically, he's a big boy now. If he tried me too close to the rim, I'm dead. But I wouldn't let him get there often. But
Yeah.
I just played physical, and if he got that close, I just fouled him. I said, "You're not getting any points in the paint." So
Wow. How
and
about
then,
that?
and we beat him at home. And then next game, we were in the championship games.
So you just assaulted him, huh? You would have been arrested.
Exactly. Exactly. And the referees didn't call fouls because we were two big guys. They let
Yeah.
you pass. But if you're playing with someone who, they're like, oh, you hit that poor kid. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but wouldn't you much rather have that, Corny, like having a referee let you play
Yeah.
versus the
Uh-huh.
ticky-tack stuff,
Yeah. But he couldn't guard me because I could shoot out from the outside and I just drive around him. So he couldn't play
Well,
me. So,
yeah, yeah, you were a hybrid player back then,
mhm.
and but before it was a thing. When you
Yeah.
had big guys out there shooting like they do today, you could do
Hmm.
that and go inside and bang around in the paint. I think that
Everybody on
was the
our
best
team could
part of
do
your
that.
game, don't you think?
Yes, and everybody on my team, I had 7 footers that shoot threes back then on the team I was on. So,
Yeah,
they switch them off on someone else. I just passed the guy the ball because they
right.
know he couldn't guard me. So, um, it was like I said, it was the game has changed. It changed with the NBA because the NBA knew it had to make it less physical, less craziness. I
They
get
needed
it,
more
more
points.
exciting
Yeah,
for the fans. And the way the NBA goes is the way FIBA goes.
Mhm.
You know that.
yeah.
But they also want to keep their attraction athletes healthier, right? Nobody wants to see the Bulls minus Michael Jordan on a bench with an injury, right?
No, and I understand that. I
Right?
do
It's a
understand
little
that.
more entertainment sometimes than it is sport.
But then now you get the loading.
Yeah,
Right.
They're
it's
on the
crazy.
bench anyways. Okay. Oh, I'm a little sore. Okay, I can't play. There was no if I played the championship game my second year with a sprained ligament in my knee. And I had taped my knee up every game from the finals. And it was so after the game I would ice down and I would just have to take so much aspirin and other stuff just to get to the next game,
Wow.
you know? But they don't do that these days.
No, not at all.
Not at
You
all.
talked about the loading last night. Miami played Golden State, and
Hmm.
Steph was out, Draymond was out, and Jimmy Butler was out. So all three their three top guys are all sitting on the bench. And you
We're
go down
only
to see them
we're
play.
less than a month into the season.
Yeah, yep,
I get it. I get it. And they're making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
And
it's not impacting that, that's for sure.
yeah, it's not impacting the money. Um,
Because that'll change. If you do that, that'll change.
yes, it will. Well, we've kind of gotten used to it. And I don't think any legislation that the NBA can do will ever change that.
yeah. I agree. I
It's
agree.
too
Probably
late.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'd like to watch the women play because it's more of a pure basketball game to me. There's strategy, there's pick and rolls, there's give and goes, there's back doors. I mean,
And
nobody's playing above the rim.
yeah,
But I mean, the men's game, it like the first guy who has the ball when they cross half court is putting it up. That it
yeah.
seems like way.
And it's all the dribble, dribble, and
Right.
pass to
Yeah.
him. He dribble, dribble. There's no screens, not good screens.
No, not at
There's
all.
no real
No.
good picks.
Ball screens, high ball
And
screens. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
There's no pick away stuff. You never see
no,
that.
no, oh, except for Golden State,
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yep.
and those are the teams that usually win it.
Yeah.
Even think about
There you go.
even think well, not too much Oklahoma City because they got Shea, and Shea's a great one-on-one player, but
Yeah.
still,
I tell you what, they're impressive. I watched them last night a little bit. They
well,
are impressive, man. They got all
they
the
could be
parts.
a
I
repeat.
think they've only got one loss right now.
They could be a repeat.
Yeah.
They could be a repeat.
Yeah.
And I would be very careful of them because they have so many draft picks. So even if they lose one or two players, they're going to be set for at least 10
Yeah.
years.
They're set
You
up
know
well.
what was what was funny about them winning last year, Corny, is
Mm.
they're so young, they didn't even know how to open a champagne bottle, and like we would have been, completely doused that we would have been drinking it and everything else. These guys were like, all right, they left more in the tank when they walked out of the locker room than
Mhm.
anybody else ever because they would like, all right,
Oh, a
whatever.
few of them weren't even 21, so they
I'm
can't drink.
probably right. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Hey,
So
Corny, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Your observation now, African American athlete, United States NBA,
Mhm.
African American athlete in Spain and Italy.
Yeah.
Were there differences you feel how the Europeans treat the different races versus how it happens in America?
No,
How about the
no, because
fans?
I
Anything?
always believe if you're a good person, they know that and they treat you appropriately. If you're
Hmm.
an asshole, they're gonna treat you like an asshole. Okay?
no
And the
matter what,
problem
no
is a
matter
lot
where
of
you're
times,
from or what country you're in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no matter
assholes are
who
That's
you're
accountable.
from,
I
universal.
got
That's
you.
universal.
if they treat you the way you treat it in how you act and the feeling they get from you. Okay? I
Yeah.
don't know why they still like me. And they like Harold. They like all because they were good people.
Yeah.
Okay? And if they're good people here, they still love you. But
You
if they know you have any badness or you're just an asshole,
Yeah.
they're gonna treat you bad.
I think part of it too, Corny, is you tried to embrace the culture that you were in by speaking the language. That
Yeah.
means a lot to people in
Big
their
deal.
culture.
It's
I
a big
mean,
deal to Italians, I could tell you that.
I'm in the
Yeah.
gasoline business. I work kind of with the United Nations. I've seen it all with as far as the cultures go, and everybody's
Mhm.
so proud of their heritage and where they're from.
Yeah.
And for you to come in and take the time to learn the language was a big deal to people when you played there.
And I would go out with the players. I would go out, hang out with them. They would invite me over to their homes with their family, and we had a great time.
Yeah, of course.
And that makes a difference in just going away and isolating yourself because you're just a foreigner. And
Right.
I think that makes a big difference too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple of my teammates though they played in England and they felt that the culture was a little bit more progressive there than it was here.
Yeah.
So I was just
It
curious.
it can be. It can be. I still think it comes down to the person, the individual, how you hold yourself, how you
Mhm.
yourself accessible and as much as you try to embrace people and give them the opportunity to approach you.
So we're
I
getting up
think,
against it, Corny. So I got to ask you
Mhm.
one more thing, and we'll wrap this up with a nice
Yep.
bow on it, okay?
Mhm.
So we talked about fun facts at the beginning of the show, things that, Corny Thompson with the cooking and the
Yeah.
not losing in high school. You got to
Mhm.
tell me how you got involved with driving around the country in an RV. How did that happen?
Okay. So I have spent a lot of, I played in sports. I flew everywhere. I went to, playing basketball. I could say I traveled everywhere, but I didn't get to see the country. I didn't
Yeah,
get to
that's an
see
excellent point, my man.
a lot of things. And there's so much nature and things that when you're driving, you see how the country changes from one state to another.
Hmm.
You see how people treat you from one state to another and how quickly you see, hear dialects and everything else. And it gave me an opportunity to see things in America that I didn't see one before. And I can tell you, I've been through a lot of places in America. But what I see when I RV and do all these other things is completely different. Love Savannah, love Charleston.
Yeah, Charleston's a great city.
Yeah,
boots on the ground though, right? It's a big
boots on
difference.
the ground. I mean, but even driving from one point to another, because when we drove, I drove no more than 2 hours, so it was like little quick stops in all
Oh,
these little
wow.
different towns and places, and we jump in our car after we got there, and we would go explore, and we saw a lot of good things.
That's
You
cool.
know?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that's somebody's dream. I mean, just to go see the country in an RV like that. I mean,
Chuck,
so how do
Chuck,
you
I'm hearing a new show on the road.
on the road with
Corny
Corny
Thompson.
Thompson?
I'm just feeling that.
No, see,
Yeah.
I'm not one of those persons that will be on YouTube or doing a YouTube channel or anything like that. My wife has one, and I'm going like, do not use my likeness at all on this channel.
So you're good. You don't need NIL right now, Corny,
Oh
in your
no,
life.
no, not at all, not at all. I'm happy just being on the sideline, being no one. Just like you didn't find me for 5 years. I have no
No,
problem.
yeah. Hey, listen,
That's a badge of honor,
you're a
man.
big guy. It wasn't like it was tough
Oh,
finding you.
if you wanted to find me, you could find me. But
That's
I'm
a
in the corner, and
You
unless you approach me, I'm staying where I'm at.
the
Okay?
only
badge
one
of
that's
honor,
better at
man.
hide and seek is probably Bigfoot. That's the only guy that's better than you.
Exactly, exactly. But I don't mind coming out once in a while, showing my face, and I'll go back in my little hovel. Okay?
So one last thing about the Army because it intrigues me. So
Hmm.
when you leave Texas, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So I guess you have a game plan. We're going to hit this place, this place, this place, and it's going to
Yes.
take us a month, hypothetically, right?
It was 64 days this last one. Yes.
Really? That's two
Yeah.
months. That's pretty good. Where did you
Yeah.
go on? What part of the country did you see? Did you go to
We
West?
went from Texas to Arkansas to Tennessee to North Carolina, South Carolina. Then we hit Georgia, that was on the coast. We hit everything on the East Coast and West Coast of Florida. Then we went to Tallahassee. Then we went to the
Wow.
Gulf Coast and Mississippi, Louisiana, and then we
Hey,
made it home
yeah,
last Saturday.
big old circle. It's a big old
That's
circle.
great.
Yes.
What do you spend 2 or 3 days in each, town that you want to see or
I spent, we saw family along the way, so we spent three
okay.
different family members. And then we spent a week in Myrtle Beach, and we spent 3 to 4 days near Miami Beach. Uh,
Oh, cool.
2 to 3, 4 days, just depending on what I wanted to see.
Well, I got to say, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hooking up with us. And I got to thank Harold Presley for
Thank
helping
you.
us put this together because this has been a lot of fun for us. I hope you had a good time. We had a great
I
time
did.
talking with you, my man.
I did. I would have had a great time. You got to bring Harold up here next time with me.
Oh,
Then we'll have
absolutely.
some stories for you.
I'm sure you will. I can make that happen.
That will not be hard to
Uh,
do.
I
That will
can make
not be
that
uh,
hard.
happen. Hang
okay.
out for a second while I shut this down for everybody. So you've been listening to and watching the Big East Rewind with Chuck Everson and Sonny Sparrow. The Big East Rewind is produced and directed by James Happ, Nick Chico Chorus, and Daryl Gurney. Check us out on the Sirius XM app. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks a lot for everything. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.